I've been looking at the weather maps. The wind generally blows from the southwest in this area that I'm supposed to be sailing in, and this is exactly the wrong direction for going around England, in this direction. And so I was looking, this is from London, round the coast, Portsmouth, Southampton, and Cornwall, around Cornwall there. So that stretch around the bottom of the coast there is probably going to be the most difficult, and that's got like a lot of traffic. And I found another interesting website where you can go on, you can see all of the boats that are actually moving on the water, all the big boats. The little boats don't have the system, but the bigger boats do, and commercial boats and that. And wow, the amount of traffic moving through these, especially around Dover and around Southampton. And so this is obviously the busiest parts. So I was giving this some thought and trying to work out how long it's going to take me, and so I worked out it'll take a long time, the rate I calculated, but then I went and saw some other yacht journey, and it only took like 28 hours to go through probably half of it. And so I'm in two minds as to how long it's going to take. It probably depends on what the wind is doing. So quite tricky stuff. And then I did this, which I'll show you, this wind force chart, so that I can put on the boat, so I can remember what all of the different wind force numbers mean, and exactly what they do to the sea as far as the size of the waves go, and then also what the markings are, the little lines and arrows of the wind, what they all mean on the chart. So I've got all that sorted out, trying to get back into this. It's been 10 years since I've done any sailing, and then I thought, well, I'm on my own, and so I have to have I have a design for self-steering design here, which I have to make sure I've got the bits and pieces to make this. And then there's a way to sail downwind and a way to sail upwind, which I wrote down, so I can experiment with this, but it's not going to be much good if I haven't got any way that I can leave the tiller. I need to be able to leave the tiller, and then I'm going to need a harness as well, so that if anything happened, like I fell off, the boat wouldn't carry on sailing, you know, to America or something, and leave me behind. Yeah, so all these things to think about. And so it's between 11 and 12 o'clock on Monday now, and I haven't actually phoned about the boat yet. I did give David a couple of calls, but there's no response from David, and so I've got no help in the matter. And I've been considering what I have to do, because I have to take a bus, take all the stuff that I need, carry everything that I need on a bus, and use my bus pass, my pensioner's bus pass, and find my way through all these little buses all the way down to Canvey Island, which is near London. Hopefully I don't have to travel through London with all this stuff. And there's nobody other than David. I can't think of anybody who might be able to, help and give me a lift down there or something like that. But the idea would be to go down there and not stop, go down there, go to the boat, buy the boat, and make sure the boat's all working properly, put the boat on the water, and sail out of there. And I'm probably just going to end up sailing. The practice probably can go by the wayside, because when I put that boat in the water, I want the wind to be going in the right direction, because it doesn't happen. The wind direction is kind of changing. You may get a few days where it's going in the right direction, and it go back the other way. And so it'd be nice to get out of there and heading towards Cornwall with the wind in a good position so that it's not so easy, not so difficult that I can learn how to sail the boat whilst I'm sailing it. You know, it's going to be sailing for days and days, so I'm going to be learning again how to deal with that. Every boat's different, so but this boat seems to be fairly simple. Now, one of the big problems I've had, I put some video on there of the engine, or an engine, one of these little Lister, Petter Lister diesel engines, single cylinder engines running. And I've been doing a bit of research on the internet to find out what their faults are. And it seems that you need to check the impeller, make sure the water's going round and round, make sure that the rubber impeller is in good condition. Probably end up having to put a new one in, maybe not. You know, it depends. Maybe somebody did it already. And the pipes between the diesel, the metal pipes that join the diesel pump to the engine and the diesel and the oil pipes, these can corrode and crack and so on, and so these seem to be an area that can be let down with. So I've been giving that some thought. And so what do? I've been looking into my finances, and I only just enough money to buy this boat. A very, very tight budget, and by the time I get down there I'm going to have £150 before I get paid again, and then when I get paid again I have a few more hundred that I could spend, and so somehow I have to go down there, buy this boat, spend all my money with just £150 in my pocket. With that £150 I have to do everything I need to do to the boat, like to get it ready to go, like I've got to eat. Maybe I don't need to eat, maybe if I don't eat I'll probably do it faster. And without running out of money. Now, I was so concerned about this, I phoned my lady in Germany and asked her how she's doing this month, and she's also a poverty case really. And she thinks that she can afford to send me €100, but you know, by the time you transfer it over here it's probably only about 80, if that, and so that might help. And so my biggest concern is if I go down there and I find there's something expensive on the boat that needs to be dealt with, and I really do need a solar panel, so I need to buy a solar panel for about £30 to get the thing solar powered for £30. That's quite a big ask really, isn't it? And then, you know, fortunately the boat's been anti-fouled. I was going to paint the top sides of it whilst I was down there, but I'm not going to be able to afford to buy any paint. It's not going to be practical to do that. So I'm just going to have to take the boat as it is and just do the bare minimum to it. So I thought, if I'm going to buy this boat, and this is happening now in half an hour's time, I have to phone this guy, and if the boats are still available I have to decide what to do. And so I thought, well, I could pay £100 immediately into his bank account so that he knows I'm not messing him around, and then immediately travel down there, so I have to get ready to go within the next day really, pack everything up, get everything sorted, and then travel down there and have to make the arrangement with this man Tony that the engine needs to be running, because I'm not going to leave with a non-running engine. I don't mind, you know, if it's a bit worn, I don't need to use it continuously, but I won't go without. I have to see this engine run, and I have to see water come out of the impeller, you know, and it start, and get some idea as to, you know, whether this motor is going to be okay to go with or not. If this motor needs a complete rebuild, I'm just wasting my time buying the boat, because, you know, I don't mind rebuilding the motor in 6 months' time. If it's worn out, but it's still usable, I don't mind if I can use it, and then, you know, at my leisure, as the funds come in, I can work on this boat, on this engine. But I really need to get the boat to where it needs to be in North Wales. And so, if I leave it, if I buy this boat and it doesn't work, the engine doesn't work out, and I have to just hold the boat there, I've got this big problem of being having to get to near London to do any work on this boat, and I'm going to have to pay for this boat to stand and do nothing, probably. necessary that the engine be running before I buy this boat. I have to see this engine run before I buy this boat. And then I have to just I just have to form interest, say, yeah, okay, it's running. I'm now able to chance the journey. And then I have to do this journey many hundreds of miles to North Wales. And once it's there, there's another matter of how much it costs for the mooring. Now, the mooring is £400 up front and £200 a year. So I have to find 600, and I haven't got 600. If I arrive there next week, I won't have any money. And so both my lady and I get paid probably at the end of the month. And so as long as I got up there by then, after the end of the month, so that's 2 or 3 weeks' time, then there may be enough money to do that. If there wasn't enough money, I could probably find a mooring up there, just somebody else's mooring that's not being used, and put the boat on there and go cap in hand to the people there and say, look, I'm here, we're running a bit short of money. The other thing is I don't even know when I'm getting. It might take 3 months. I might break down the boat, end up in some other place. Some other adventure might happen to me there. In fact, the boat might end up being somewhere else, you know, not going to Wales at all. One has to be open to this, what the universe wants, and everything that comes to us, I feel, is a discovery, and it always leads to something better. And I'm happy to say that my lady is wanting, positively thinking that the boat, we need to move on this boat. Yeah, the time is now. Can't wait too much longer, otherwise the year is finished and it won't be possible to do it at all. So, this is just to go over a few of the thoughts in my mind. I have to be able to carry tools. I have to gather all the tools that I need. What food? If I don't take food that's in the house, it's going to go off. Can't afford to buy other food. I'm going to have to use the food that I've got. I have to take stuff out of the freezer. It's not going to be easy, you know. And I've got to make sure that the bills on the house can be paid, and in my absence, I don't know how long I'm going to be gone for. Maybe a month, maybe 2 months, don't know. I've got a feeling it's going to be less than that. It's going to be between 4 and 6 weeks, I think. But there's still to consider that the bills have to be paid here, and we can't use all of the money up. That there has to be some money left in the bank. I don't have any credit facility. I don't like to use credit. So if I had a credit facility, then that might help, but in the end it might not, because I might overspend and end up in debt, and you know, on the pension you just can't afford to be wasting money paying interest, not at credit card rates anyway. So I hope this is useful for other people studying this journey, because this journey is to buy a 22-foot sailing yacht for £1,000 and sail it all the way around the bottom end of England and put it on a mooring with no money, with £150 in your pocket. So you can see that most people would think it's not possible to do this. What would happen if something happened? You know, what would happen if the sail ripped in half? What would happen? You know, what would you do? And so what I do, I'm like the birds. I went out this morning, and you think about all these things, and I looked out of the window and I saw loads of birds, all different kinds. They were all couple birds too. There was a couple of blackbirds, there was a couple of wood pigeons, there were a couple of blue tits, and there were a couple of wrens as well. The wren is the highest level bird, tiny little bird like this. I thought, what a wonderful, and I looked out the front window, there was some completely different thing, like some kind of plover, group of them, a whole group of plovers wandering around the lawn out there. I thought, wow, I've never seen this before. And so the thought came to me, the birds don't know where they're going to get fed, how they're going to live, and so, you know, we're no different to the birds. And boats are just as much part of nature as the berries that grow on the trees there. And the boat, this boat is like the fruit of the year, you know. Here's the fruit of the year. This boat is now ready to be harvested by somebody, and so it's a harvest time. And so I feel that that's what I'm doing. I'm going to harvest this boat with the fruits of the money that's been saved. I have a tin where I go to the bank and I pull out some £100 and I put it in my tin. I have some savings in my tin, and so this is part of this is really part of what's going to be added to money this month, and this money in the tin, and some money for my lady, a little bit, not much, to buy this boat now, the fruit of the year. So time draws near. What's the time now? 11:35. So we've got 25 minutes. I can't call the gentleman before midday because the arrangement was in the morning. If he had given the guy until Monday morning. Monday morning doesn't finish until midday. And so at midday I'm going to call Tony and I'm going to say to him what I've said to you about the motor, that I will take the boat on the understanding that the motor will run.